clap it up for everyone involved. Like, it was messy, it was dirty, it was crazy, it was so dramatic, but they got it done, and really that's just what we should be proud of.
Can we clap it up for everyone involved? That's the energy right now across the WNBA after over a year of brutal negotiations, marathon sessions ending at 4 in the morning, and enough drama to fill an entire season. The league and its players just reached a verbal agreement on a new CBA that's going to transform everything about women's professional basketball. And when I say transform, I'm talking about salary numbers that would have seemed impossible just 2 years ago.
And good morning, you guys. I just woke up not so long ago. My allergies are kicking, but I had to jump on here and share with you guys the very exciting news. The WNBA is back. The WNBA is officially back. WNBA Players Union reached verbal agreement on new CBA terms. When I actually woke up this morning, I had people tweeting saying, like, somebody wake up Rachel and tell her that the new CBA has been agreed upon.
This has been the longest, messiest, most public labor negotiation in WNBA history. Over a year of back and forth, countless episodes covering every twist and turn, public statements that got heated, players talking about potential strikes, fans genuinely worried there might not be a season, and then suddenly, after over 100 hours of marathon negotiation sessions in the span of just over a week, Shams Charania breaks the news that a deal is done. The timing couldn't be more critical. Training camp is supposed to start April 19th. That's 1 month and 1 day away. Free agency needs to happen. The expansion draft for the Golden State Valkyries needs to happen. The regular draft is scheduled for April 13th. Everything was backed up, waiting on this agreement. 1 more week of failed negotiations, and the entire season would have been in jeopardy.
And it's actually so funny because Shams broke the news, and Shams is like an NBA insider who really hasn't even touched this CBA stuff the entire time, but he's a really, really good insider. He normally gets all of the big breaking stories, and he broke this one as well. So he said under the new CBA, the salary cap will start at $7 million, and that's up from $1.5 million in 2025. So that's a huge increase in salary cap. And then the starting Supermax will be at $1.4 million, which was $249,000 in 2025, you guys.
Let's break down what actually changed, because these numbers are staggering. The salary cap is jumping from $1.5 million in 2025 to $7 million. That's not an incremental increase. That's a complete restructuring of how teams can build rosters. The starting Supermax goes from $249,000 to $1.4 million. Read that again. $1.4 million for a Supermax contract in the WNBA. Average salary, $600,000. That was $120,000 in 2025. And the minimum salary is now over $300,000, up from $66,000. Think about what that means for rookies. Caitlin Clark signed her rookie deal for around $70,000 per year. She's still on that deal for next season, which has to sting a little bit, knowing what rookies will be making in year 2 of this CBA.
She said, it's been a process, but we're very proud to be leading in women's sports, and these players are amazing. And we're going to have an amazing 30th season tipping off in May. So I do honestly, like, I want to give credit to everybody who has been in those meetings. They started these marathon negotiation sessions, I think over a week ago, and it was over 100 hours of them doing these negotiation sessions. Like, we saw the reporters who were staking out and just waiting for something every single night. It seemed like a lot of these meetings were wrapping up at 3 or 4 in the morning. And some of the players who were there, President Neko Gumake, Vice Presidents Brianna Stewart and Alicia Clark, and Treasurer Brianna.
Here's where it gets interesting from a business perspective. The revenue sharing language is carefully worded. The agreement states players will receive nearly 20% across the length of the deal. Nearly 20%. Not exactly 20, not over 20. Nearly. That phrasing matters because the entire sticking point in these negotiations was whether players would get a percentage of gross revenue or net revenue. The league wanted to give players 70% of net revenue. The players initially asked for 40% of gross revenue, then came down to 30%. So where did they land? The fact that they're saying nearly 20% suggests this is gross revenue, which is what the players wanted. But the exact percentage and the exact definition of what revenue counts, that's going to be crucial when the written agreement comes out at the end of March.
Breanna Stewart and Alicia Clark, and treasurer Brianna Turner. So they were there last night. I did also hear that when Alicia Clark was sharing the news of this CBA agreement, she actually started getting emotional talking about it. And so I do want to give it up to these 4 players for really sticking it through and figuring.
President Nneka Ogwumike, Vice President Breanna Stewart, Secretary Kelsey Plum, and Treasurer Brianna Turner were in those negotiation rooms until 3 and 4 in the morning, multiple nights in a row. When Kelsey Plum shared the news with other players, she reportedly got emotional talking about what they'd accomplished, because this wasn't just about getting more money. This was about establishing that women's professional basketball is a legitimate career where you can actually build wealth, not just survive.
Caitlin Clark did win MVP of the tournament in Puerto Rico. So shout out to Caitlin Clark, very well deserved. And this was her senior debut with Team USA. And so it's just a really cool storyline. You know, we come off the backs of the Team USA games. Now we are going to go straight to business. They have a month. Actually, is it less than a month? Today's the 18th. They have 1 month and 1 day before the players have to report for training camp. And I am seeing some rumblings. Don't hold me to this because I don't know if this has been set in stone yet. But
we need to talk about what's not in the public details yet. Housing. That was one of the biggest sticking points throughout this entire process. Players wanted guaranteed year-round housing in their team cities. The league was resistant. We haven't heard anything about housing in the initial reports, which means either someone conceded completely or they found a compromise that both sides are keeping quiet until the written agreement is finalized. My guess? There's some kind of phased approach where housing gets addressed in year 2 or 3 of the deal, because that issue was too hot for both sides to just drop.
Half a free agency. And when there is this much money now on the table, I could see, players wanting to take their time and make sure that the team that they're signing with is a team that they want to go to, a city they want to go to, a team that they think is going to be the best fit for them. And a lot of these players are going to want to get the most money that they possibly can. Like, there's a lot of veterans in this league who are probably in that mid-tier salary level who are probably going to want to get as much as they possibly can. So free agency is definitely going to be the wild west, and we'll just have to see how all of that shakes out.
Now let's talk about what happens next, because the timeline is absolutely brutal. March 31st, the CBA gets formally signed in writing. Sometime quickly after the Final Four, the expansion draft happens for the Golden State Valkyries. April 7th through 18th is free agency. April 13th is the WNBA draft. April 19th is when training camp opens. May 8th is the season opener. Look at that free agency window. April 7th through 18th, that's 11 days. 11 days for over 100 players to negotiate contracts with these brand new salary cap numbers that teams are still figuring out how to structure. This is going to be absolute chaos.
But as of right now, you guys, that is pretty much all that we have on the details of this new CBA. I'll keep you guys posted as, everything starts getting put in writing, but this is outstanding news. This is amazing news. I'm so happy for the women of the WNBA. I'm so happy for the league itself. I do think that if they didn't get this done, it would be the fumble of the century. So I can't wait till things get put in writing and we can start covering basketball again. I think, again, you guys, this is going to be one of the biggest seasons ever in the WNBA.
Here's my prediction for free agency, and I don't think I'm alone in this. A lot of veterans are going to sign one-year deals again. Not because they want to, but because they have to. Think about it. You're a mid-tier veteran. You've been making $150,000 per year. Suddenly the salary cap is $7 million, and you have 11 days to figure out your market value in this completely new economic structure. You don't know what other teams are offering other players. You don't have time to really negotiate and compare offers properly. So what do? You sign a one-year deal, even if it's not your ideal situation, because you want to get back into free agency next year when things have settled down and you actually know what you're worth in this new system. That's not great for roster stability, but it's the reality of having such a compressed timeline.
It's just basically a matter of time till they get it in writing, and then they can start on all the things that they need to start before the start of the season, which is less than 2 months away. So I actually want to share with you guys the details of this new CBA.
The players still need to vote to ratify this agreement. The Board of Governors still needs to vote. Those are formalities at this point, but they're necessary formalities. Once there's a verbal agreement that both the union leadership and league executives have agreed to, it's extremely rare for the ratification votes to fail. But technically, until those votes happen, this could still fall apart. Nobody thinks it will, but the possibility exists.
So with that, you guys, that's pretty much the update. That's the update there from fresh out of bed, drinking my energy drink. Maybe later this evening we can pop a bottle of champagne or crack open a beer and celebrate that way. But stay tuned for more, you guys. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe because we upload new videos every single week. And with that, you guys, I will see you very.
Let's zoom out and talk about what this means for the league itself, because this is where things get really interesting. The WNBA is making a massive bet on its own growth. To go from a 1.5 million salary cap to 7 million, the league is projecting that revenue is going to explode. They're not just hoping for incremental growth. They're banking on the Caitlin Clark effect continuing. They're banking on the new media rights deal delivering massive value. They're banking on expansion teams in Golden State, Toronto, and Portland, bringing in serious money. If those bets pay off, this CBA looks like a brilliant move that positioned the league for sustainable growth. If those bets don't pay off, if ratings decline without Clark's college rivalry storylines, if the new media deal underperforms, if expansion doesn't generate the expected revenue, then the league is going to be paying out salaries it can't afford. That's the risk, but it's a risk they had to take, because not making this deal would have been even more catastrophic. The alternative was a potential strike, a lost season, and the complete destruction of all the momentum the league built in 2024. You don't recover from that. You don't get that Caitlin Clark rookie season energy back. You don't get those casual fans who just started paying attention to come back after a labor dispute canceled the season. So yes, this is a financial risk for the league, but it was the only move they could make. Here's what I'm watching for in the written agreement. First, the exact revenue sharing percentage and definition. Is it truly gross revenue, or did they find some hybrid model? Second, the housing situation. What actually happened there? Third, the structure of how salaries scale over the length of the deal. Is that 7 million cap in year one, or does it phase in? Fourth, what happens with charter flights and travel accommodations, because that was another major issue. And fifth, probably most important, what are the mechanisms if revenue doesn't meet projections? Is there language that protects the league if they overextended, or are these salary numbers locked in regardless of financial performance? Those details matter enormously for understanding whether this deal is sustainable long-term. But let's be real about something. Even if the league struggles financially with these new salary numbers, they made the right call, because the alternative, letting this negotiation drag on or having players strike, would have killed the league's momentum completely. You can recover from financial strain. You can find new investors, restructure debt, negotiate better media deals. You cannot recover from losing an entire season and watching your fan base disappear. The players deserve enormous credit here too. Nneka Ogwumike, Brianna Stewart, Kelsey Plum, Brianna Turner. They didn't just show up for photo ops. They sat in negotiation rooms until 4 in the morning, multiple nights in a row, grinding through details. They held firm on the things that mattered most while being realistic about what was achievable. That's actual leadership. And Kathy Engelbert, whatever you think of her as commissioner, she got this done. She could have dug in, could have let this drag into a work stoppage, could have played hardball and forced a strike. She didn't. She found a way to yes. That matters. So where does this leave us? The WNBA is about to have the most important season in its history. New salary structure, new expansion team, free agency chaos, a draft class that includes Paige Buchers, Caitlin Clark, coming off a Rookie of the Year campaign, and a Team USA MVP performance, Ajayi Wilson defending her championship. This is everything the league needs to capitalize on the momentum from 2024, but it only works if the product on the court delivers. If the games are competitive, if the storylines are compelling, if the players who are now making real money play like they're worth it. That's the test. The league made its bet. The players made their bet. Now we get to see if it pays off. One more thing. This deal proves something important about the trajectory of women's sports. 5 years ago, a $7 million salary cap in the WNBA would have been laughable. 3 years ago, it would have seemed unlikely. Last year, it seemed possible but difficult. This year, it happened. That's not just incremental progress. That's a fundamental shift in how women's professional sports are valued. And it's not just because people suddenly decided to be more generous. It's because the business case became undeniable. Ratings proved there's an audience. Attendance proved fans will show up. Merchandise sales proved people will spend money. The economic argument for investing in the WNBA became impossible to ignore. That's what changes industries. Not goodwill, not activism, not hoping people do the right thing. Cold hard proof that there's money to be made. The WNBA now has that proof. This CBA is the result. So yeah, can we clap it up for everyone involved? It was messy. It was dramatic. It went down to the wire. but they got it done. And what they got done is going to change the trajectory of women's professional basketball for the next decade. Now we get to watch if the league can live up to the expectations this deal creates.